Alright, that is awesome. So today is going to be our very last class of plants. I know it has been really long, and it's going to be really really long the next few units, but hopefully everything is going to be fine. And yeah, today compared to the other class really isn't as important as the plant mechanics. However, you still need to know this because apparently they want to test you on this on the exam, and they also want to test you on this on the quiz, and apparently in grade 12 we're going to get tested on it as well, but it's okay. So we're going to get introduced to the idea of the biosphere and how many stuff it actually provides. So the biosphere is where all living things kind of exist, and we all just live in here. Well, we're part of the biosphere, obviously. So this is made possible only by plants. If plants didn't exist, the biosphere wouldn't exist. From food to oxygen and all the way to materials of fabric or paper, these plants are the center of all of it. So let's talk through them one by one. Food. So humans, we don't directly need food. I know there's a lot of vegetarians out there, and this might hurt them. And this might hurt their feelings. So you don't actually need to eat plants to live. But if you don't eat plant and you only eat meat, that's okay. But if you only eat plant and you don't eat meat, you'll probably die. But the idea is that even if you don't eat a plant, you're likely going to be eating an animal that eats a plant. So for example, your pig. Your pig likes carbohydrates in general, like potatoes or noodles or whatever. And then essentially we're going to be consuming that pig. And what does that mean? That means we're going to be eating an animal that ate a plant. Essentially everything, when you simplify it down, it's going to come from a plant. And then we gotta talk about cows. They just eat grass directly. That's a plant. And sheep also. And if you like fish, well, what does fish eat? Well, fish, they consume other fishes, which potentially will eat seaweed or these seagrasses, and they're the same thing. Now, plants, as we talked about primary and secondary succession 2 days ago or a couple days ago, we learned that plants are responsible and they created this environment for us to live. If they never did that, we probably won't be alive, because we can't just be born like this. I know there's all that Adam and Eva theory and how God created humans, all that. No. Alright? If plants didn't exist, we wouldn't exist. It's not like a religious thing. It's a science thing. Plants created these environments of trees and habitats, an environment where there are flowers, animals, and there are predators. And then humans use this environment, and that's how we are able to live. If these plants didn't come first, we won't be alive. And they also prevent soil erosion, which is the same idea as primary and secondary succession. They're going to be keep on taking the soil, and once the plant dies, it's going to bury its nutrients into the soil, which make the soil healthy, and then attracts more potential plants to grow in it, and then it goes over and over again. Now, plants, they're really important for oxygen, because we all know that humans, we need oxygen to live. If we don't have oxygen, we might as well just be die. We might as well just be dead. We need air to live. We need to breathe. And plants, they remove carbon dioxide, which we produce, and then they turn it into sugar and oxygen. Now we're going to talk about more to the fabric side. So plants, they have this very interesting structure. They're bendable, but they aren't easy to break. That's because of the bonds in there, but we don't talk about it until grade 12. And because of that, plants are really good at making fabric stuff. We can actually use them to produce paper and cardboard, which you know come from trees. We can use them to produce fabrics like ropes, or these professional climbing ropes, or the ones that police use. And obviously, before we started to burn coal and fossil fuels and all that, we started fire with the wood and sun, and we used physics to concentrate the sun's radiant energy into kinetic and heat energy. That's how heat source come from. Plants, they gave us this possibility of creating fire and potentially elevating our life to a whole different level. Agriculture. So agriculture, this essentially, this takes up about wait a minute. Yeah, this basically, a human, we only use 150 out of the 50,000 edible plants. Unless you're like a professional biologist or a professional plantist, if that's a word, you're going to be able to see or eat more plants. Most of these plants, they don't come, and we don't eat them. We just eat a couple. We eat all of them. We don't eat all of these weird stuff. And three make up more than 60% of the 60% consumed calories. And I believe you all know what three what these three are. Number one, potatoes. We all love potatoes. Potatoes, as we talked about, they have so much carbohydrate. They're so rich in carbohydrate. They're the number one carbohydrate source. Let's just search it up. I'm pretty sure the other one is rice, because there's Asian countries have high population, and all of these Asian countries they like rice. I like rice. I farm rice. Okay, no. So yeah, it's probably rice. And then I assume, because I saw it somewhere. I assume the third one is wheat, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, these three are the most consumed calories for humans, and we eat them. If you ever see someone that haven't ate potatoes or wheat or rice in their life, tell them I'm impressed, man, because that's impossible. So these are the important exports for Canada, actually. So Canada make money off this: wheat, barley, oats, rye, grain corn, peas, all of these. Canada grow these well. And other countries, they don't, because all of these countries have different habitats, and plants like to live in different environments. So what are the agriculture techniques? We actually we actually stole this from indigenous people, but yeah, you know what? It's alright, guys. It's the indigenous people. They're so nice. They never ask us for anything, and we just keep on taking from them. So we grow the three sisters, which is the corn, beans, and squash. So essentially, these three, they support each other. Every plant, when they grow, they need to take out some sort of nutrient out of that soil to be able to grow. However, these three, the things that beans need to grow, corns will give them. The things that squash will need to grow, the beans will give them. So essentially, when corn dies, it will leave some nutrients in the soil that bean needs, and when bean dies, it will leave some nutrients that squash needs, and so on and so on. Squash for corn, and so on. It just keep on going on. So the soil is always healthy. And this was first from indigenous people, because we saw their land. We're like, wait a minute. How does your land keep on doing this? Because our land, when we keep on planting potatoes, it's just so broken that the year after there's no more nutrients and no crops grow out. Now we're gonna talk about monoculture and sustainable culture, agriculture. Yeah, monoculture is basically we're just growing one thing, just one thing. Literally, we're just growing one thing. We're using the soil to only grow one thing, and just that thing. Now that is horribly horrible, because that, let's just say, I just love potatoes, so I want to keep on growing potatoes. That potato will essentially use up every single nutrient that the soil has for itself. So the soil is still rich in nutrients, but it's only rich in the nutrients that potatoes do not need. What does that mean? Well, that means the soil health is probably bad. That means the pest vulnerability is high. And in contrast, we have sustainable agriculture. So, sustainable agriculture is the fact that we're going to change plant rotation, which is these three. Sometimes, so let's say 1 year I might plant some potatoes. The other years I notice my soil is dying. I might plant some corn. And the year after I might plant some beans. And then I realize, oh, my soil needs some rest, so I let it rest for a year. and then I'm gonna plant some squash. So I keep on rotating what plant I plant in there. And maybe the next time you go outside, you go into Newmarket, Canada, or I'm pretty sure they do that in Brampton too. So when you go onto these land, you will see that some of the land are actually empty. So it's actually they minted. So these methods, they will balance productivity with environmental health. So it maximizes our crop and potentially our wealth. They're also used for building materials. So plants provide all the materials that we actually use to build our home and lives. Timber, straw, plant-based textiles. All of these, they're used in construction and everyday life. The thing that you're taking notes of, it's probably on paper. And cardboard and fabric, they're also built on plants. So ropes and clothing, they have roots in the plant world. And maybe the next time you walk into a building, you might remember how much it might be thanks to plants, man. Now, biochemicals. Ooh, that's a big one. So, biochemicals are actually they're actually so rare that we want to take the best smell and we just keep on mixing all of this plant and that plant together. So we get this wonderful smell that I'm pretty sure Dior takes away to make some good smelling perfume or whatever. But yeah, it hurts the plant, but whatever. So plant use chemicals to attract pollinators, as we talked about. Maybe it's a smell, or maybe it's a treat that will attract bumblebees or butterflies or whatever. But humans, we don't get attracted. We do actually, but instead of pollinating the flower, we kill it, and we use it for perfumes or dyes, whatever. Just like Minecraft, honestly. You can get I'm pretty sure you can pick up a silver violet in Minecraft and craft it into a purple dye. Yeah. So medicines. And that's the only good one. So if you ever want to take medicine, you are going to learn this. You're going to learn that plants are so important. You're going to learn that chemistry is so important, and you're going to learn how we make medicine and how we can go into the mountains and pick herbs, and that will make us some good medicine. But yeah, essentially these medicine, they came from Asian China, and I'm pretty sure Native Americans also had them, and it also came from, I think, Egyptians. So they're really smart. They came up with these plant herbs that I'm pretty sure somebody tasted them at first, so they realized what's the effect. So these herbs, they're almost as good as modern day medicine somehow. You don't know how, but yeah, I don't know how either. It's been like 3,000 years since they were alive, and they just came up with all of these fancy medicine orders. It might be like maybe 2 drops of, let's say, herb grass or herb weed, whatever, and then 3 drops, 3 cuttings of something else, and then it suddenly cures your cold, or it might even cure COVID-19. It's just magical. So fuels. Now we learned that this was a part of what I said about heat sources. So we now are learning to burn biofuels, which is pretty cool. So historically, we actually burn wood, and we have been burning wood. But now we're burning this biofuels. So we're trying to break down corn to produce ethanol, which is ethane gas with a hydroxide group at the end. And yeah, coal is actually also wood, just wood, if you guys remember. So we're actually entirely just burning a lot of plants. Erosion control. So plants, they reduce many negative effects. They protect their land as much as they sustain it. So they anchor the soil with their roots. And what does this mean? They reduce the chances of floods and mudslides. This is crucial and absolutely critical for actually preserving the fertile topsoil, which is essential for agriculture, but it takes I'm pretty sure 20 years to grow. So without plants, the land will basically be extremely vulnerable, and instead of actually eating, all of us might as well just go out there and become farmers because our land is screwed. Now, recreation ecotourism. So one of the places that uses their field of view, uses their parks, and uses their view the best, I would say it's actually Dubai. So Dubai have one of the biggest tourism attractions, I think, and people they go there, they spend millions. And you know what's even better? Justin Trudeau just went on a trip to Costa Rica. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. He didn't. But yeah, Costa Rica also has really good ones, and Cancun also has really good ones. So they use this ecosystem to make them into an absolutely bomber money industry, and now they're making them billions and trillions of dollars. So I'm pretty sure. Let's look up annual amount of tourism in Canada. Yeah, why don't we look in Canada? So we have around 12.8 million tourists that visited in Canada, and we got almost $73 billion. GG's. So Canada made $73 billion off its local parks, conservation areas, and all of that. So this provides us an area for exercise, learning, and relaxation. So a lot of tourists they just travel around the world to go ahead and take pictures and yeah. So over that we just learn plant aren't just the resources, they are potentially an experience that could improve our physical or mental health. This is where it ends. Everything goes down. It's funny because in grade I'm pretty sure in grade 9 we talked about ecology and that was part of biology. So we started with diversity. So funnily enough, this was supposed to be unit 5. So this was supposed to be our last unit and this was supposed to be our last class because I don't want you to because I don't want you learning plants last, I brought it here. So funnily enough, we started grade 11 course with diversity and we were supposed to end it with diversity. And funnily enough, you realize that grade 12 we're gonna talk about diversity once again in the last few classes. At least that's what I did. But yeah. So your life and entirely in biology, what we're trying to understand and tell you to understand is what is biodiversity? It's this diversity that exists between biotic factors, essentially. So increased plant species. It leads us to an ecosystem resilience. It's resilient against diseases, resilient against invasive species from other ecosystems. It's resilient against extreme weather, and on top of that, it gives us a diverse ecosystem. They're just better at producing and building this biomass. So they're also a big part of sustainability. So the increased biodiversity within an ecosystem means that the ecosystem has less chances to crash and die. So meaning there are multiple food sources in the food chain. So even if one of the plant just magically went extinct, the consumers or the predators will not die. And that's changes to the water cycle and carbon cycle if you knew. So we're actually suffering right now because of global warming. And global warming is essentially because we are not doing enough. We're producing too much greenhouse gases, if you know. So our Earth is getting warmer. So this basically it's just showing us that we are burning too much fossil fuels, coal, oil, gas, and we just need some new biofuels or new cleaner energy. But essentially, yeah, that's the entirety of this unit. I will do a practice test today, and I will hopefully get some notes from one of the students, or if I could get it from another tutor.